It might not have been everyone's most anticipated going in, but I sincerely believe that the Lanterns trailer was the biggest win out of San Diego Comic-Con this year. It promised something truly special, and I kind of need to watch this show now. I'm like, I need it ASAP. While I do think it was a missed opportunity for Peter Safran and James Gunn not to have a full DCU panel at Comic-Con, especially in the wake of Supergirl, in order to quell concerns regarding their cinematic universe and, maybe take the opportunity to announce Wonder Woman and, the new Batman actor for Brave and the Bold. I don't know. Look, maybe they're not cast yet, but I do think, doing something a little bit more than just Lanterns probably would have gone a long way. That being said, what we did get from Lanterns looks like it might be the best thing DC's done so far. And by DC, of course, I mean DCU, because there's a lot of great stuff with it, the DC canon. I'm just the DCU. Let's just make that clear. But we got an incredible new trailer that only accentuated my already high anticipation for this show. I know Lanterns has been somewhat divisive amongst fans. I don't really know why when you think of you read about the talent involved, but still, I am really on board with what Chris Mundy, Damon Lindelof, and Tom King's version of this project is looking like. A gritty neo-Western cop drama that still retains the cosmic scale and epicness of classic Green Lantern comics. The trailer certainly leans more into the cosmic aspect of our previous glimpses, showcasing the likes of Sinestro, the Manhunters, and John and Hal going off-world. But at its core, it remains this gritty, True Detective-style take on the DC Universe's premier peacekeepers that I'm extremely excited about. A lot of people are willing to write James Gunn and Peter Safran's DCU off after one miss, which I think is a bit premature. Sure, Supergirl wasn't great, and it proved to be a box office bomb, but I'm still very excited for the future of this universe. Man of Tomorrow should be great. It's James Gunn back at the helm, and he's following up his already incredibly successful Superman movie. Clayface looks incredible from its newest trailer, and Lanterns continues to be one of the most intriguing projects in a while. Its creators, Chris Mundy, Damon Lindelof, and Tom King, are all excellent storytellers. Lindelof and Mundy are two of the best writers, producers, showrunners in modern television, and King, despite being a polarizing figure within the industry, has written an abundance of excellent comics over the past decade. If anyone can make this specific take on the Green Lanterns work, it's this team. In the lead up to this trailer, it was revealed that Lanterns will actually take place across two different time periods, 2016 with Hal training John, and 2026 with John investigating a mystery. As Entertainment Weekly pointed out, in Lanterns, John, just 2 months into his training, joins Hal to investigate a shooting that might have an alien connection. The narrative will then jump forward 10 years to events the team is holding back for a future reveal. All the marketing so far is focusing on the 2016 era timeline, suggesting the show might actually provide a big twist. The teaser did give us a quick glimpse at John Stewart in the modern day timeline, but the wider present plot line remains a mystery. This is an excellent trailer. It retains the Taylor Sheridan True Detective gritty Western feel while showcasing much more of the fantastical and comic accurate elements. A lot more constructs. Hal is in costume. He's visiting other worlds. All the kind of things that people were complaining about that we didn't get from that first trailer, they're kind of delivering on here. And if this is a good indicator of the entire series tone, it feels like an interesting blend of, all of the detective shows we've talked about, but then also there's a little bit of Men in Black thrown there into the mix, with them hunting down aliens and trying to figure out, who's in disguise, who's infiltrating the populace, and how that's stoking paranoia within, everyone around them. This trailer also really highlights the tension between Hal and John fighting over the ring and their spots on the team. John was handpicked by the Guardians to pick up the mantle in the event anything should happen to Hal. The Guardians are concerned about what Hal Jordan may have inherited from Sinestro. As I mentioned before, it shows a lot more of the cosmic side than the other trailers. Still very Earth-focused, but we see Hal and John off-world investigating Manhunters. So the mysteries surrounding Manhunters on Earth, maybe taking the form of humans, that would make a lot of sense, and I think that provides to be a very, interesting way in to talk about some topical issues, to say the least.
The ring's always been mine.
This show is all about John's ascension to the status of Green Lantern, and I think that that's brilliant. I love the use of Sinestro as well as this Hannibal Lecter type figure, also the devil on Hal's shoulder. There's been a lot of talk about whether or not Hal Jordan may actually die in episode 1 of this series, and that most of his involvement in the show is during the flashbacks, with John's present-day story involving him investigating Hal's death and the conspiracy linked to it. My theory is that Hal is linked to the mystery, either having faked his death and is now a villain or has been possessed by Parallax or something of that nature. And it feels similar to Lindelof's work on Watchmen and the Green Lantern Beware My Power animated film. The trailer very much indicates a persistent tension between Hal and John, with Hal fearing that Stewart was enlisted to replace him. The conversation between Hal and Sinestro, his former mentor who disobeyed the Corps and, relies mostly on the power of fear, the Yellow Lantern, really signifies this. His fear and anxiety of being replaced and his hostility towards John could drive him either towards a villainous turn or lead to his death, either way paving the way for John's ascension to the role of Green Lantern. Parallax and the Yellow Lanterns revolve around fear, so making Hal's fear of being replaced a central part of this arc is brilliant. And interestingly, Damon Lindelof, in a recent interview with IGN, claimed that the show's premise was pitched first by Tom King, who described it in the vein of Training Day. Given that that film centers around a veteran LAPD officer and his younger protege, before Alonzo is revealed to be corrupt and frames Hoyt for murder, I wonder how much of that dynamic might have influenced the show's portrayal of Hal and John, with Kyle Chandler essentially stepping into the Denzel Washington role, whereas Aaron Pierre is very much the Ethan Hawke character. That would be pretty sick, if you ask me. But more so than anything, the reveal that the Manhunters are the central source of fear and intrigue and conflict at the heart of this series, I think is one of the most inspired things they could have done for a Green Lantern series. In the comics, the Manhunters are robots that the Guardians created before the Lantern Corps. They're a big part of the Green Lantern Earth 1 books that this drew inspiration from. According to IGN's write-up of the Hall H panel, they showed off an additional scene where Hal interrogates an alien masquerading as a football player, quizzing him on various trivia about sports and pop culture and all that. Apparently, this scene reveals that the Manhunter claims to have a nuclear level explosive embedded in his skeleton and says it was sent to Earth on a top secret mission. There are comics where they do take the form of humans. 1988's Millennium crossover sees undercover agents on Earth taking on the identities of everyday humans, but still they're most known for being androids created and later disavowed by the Guardians. Perhaps this show might link them to the White Martians, an evil race of shapeshifters linked to Martian Manhunter, or the Imperium, the DC animated universe's equivalent.
Alien invaders. Again, not the Imperium. This guy is the Imperium, and this guy is Miss Martian.
Hell, the one brief shots of a Manhunter shapeshifting reveals their true form to be a red uniform with a white X, reminiscent of Martian Manhunter's design in the comics. Could the usage of the Manhunters be similar to Marvel's Secret Invasion? I mean, that was kind of the vibe I was getting. I mean, significantly better, but tackling similar ideas. I wonder in this iteration if the Manhunters aren't actually evil, if they're a disenfranchised group potentially radicalized by the way the Lantern Corps has been hunting them and treating them. That could be a way of introducing a character like Martian Manhunter, who, like John, comes from a group that is traditionally targeted by the authorities. The Skrulls, or maybe in this case the Manhunters, actually being displaced people and allegories for refugees, not invaders. But, obviously handled much better than Secret Invasion did, because Jesus Christ, Secret Invasion is like probably the worst Marvel thing they've ever made, which is goddamn saying something. The focus on aliens living amongst us, combined with the Midwestern small-town America setting, feels reminiscent of Lindelof's work on HBO's Watchmen, which used a similar setting to tackle white supremacy and QAnon-style conspiracy theories. Perhaps, and I genuinely feel like this is probably what it's going to be, Lindelof and his team want to use the Green Lanterns to tell a story about anti-immigration hysteria and the persecution of aliens, questioning the very nature of the Corps' role as peacekeepers in a modern context. And if that's the direction they go in, I just could not think of a more timely, a more profound, and just incredible way of introducing us to the Green Lanterns, especially when you combine it with all the ideas they were exploring in James Gunn's Superman. It just, those themes and those ideas feel like they dovetail nicely into that film. I mean, hell, even Peacemaker as well, and like the idea of like white supremacy and utopia, like that all. James Gunn's thematics going on within the DCU right now are just, you could not ask for anything better, more relevant, while still providing entertainment. Like, I think the great thing about all of this is, well, like, yes, this is obviously, these are ideas that will probably be at the forefront of these projects and make for very salient subtext. Like, they're still entertaining things in their own right. I mean, hell, even Supergirl, while I didn't think that film was good by any stretch of the imagination, I mean, you could see ideas that also linked into these broader, topical themes that I think are current to this moment. I mean, not just current to this moment, are timeless, but definitely feel more prominent than ever. Like with Supergirl dealing with, sex traffickers, and Kara being this broken, damaged figure who's willing to, take all the heat in order to save these innocent girls from being victims to this larger male machination. Prevent them from being abducted and allow them to live better lives that, she was not really able to because of all her trauma. Like, there's just really interesting ideas here that I think I don't think are getting the credit that they deserve. The DCU, I mean, shit, even like the Clayface trailer seems to be tackling ideas of just like male body image and masculinity and these expectations that are placed on, the male physique and everything like that. And like this star who, has to live up to this image that is created for, like, just, I don't know, it feels like the male version of The Substance, which is an incredibly timely issue.
But why male models? You serious?
I just think that it's really cool that the DCU is going in places that kind of speak to general cultural anxieties and concerns and fears and issues that we're all grappling with on a day-to-day basis. It's more than I could say for what some other studios are doing in terms of just like nostalgia baiting. At least, for as flawed as maybe some of these projects may be or may end up being, there seems to be something deeper at the heart of them that I have to admire. But reeling it back in a little bit here, I think just ultimately the Lanterns trailer is very, very strong. Got me incredibly hyped for the show in a way that I don't know if I was before. I mean, I was already very excited for it, but like just seeing all of these pieces teased and what I think the show is going to be about, I don't know, it impressed me. It really did. And it shows a lot more of what fans likely expected from the beginning, which hopefully will win a lot of those naysayers back over. It's still clearly a more grounded, Western-inspired take on the Green Lanterns, but I mean, I'm not opposed to it, especially if it's done well. Both Kyle Chandler and Pierre look fantastic as Hal and John. I think their dynamic and performances will be a huge part of why this series works. Knowing John is set to appear in James Gunn's Man of Tomorrow next year, I'm curious to see where his character ends up and how Lanterns establishes any sense of the DCU's future direction. Could we possibly be building towards Blackest Night, HyperClan from Grant Morrison's JLA, or a similar style alien invasion from the Justice League cartoon Secret Origin episode? Maybe. I definitely see like hints of Blackest Night in here, or at least the foundation for what could become Blackest Night. Could Parallax actually be a long-term villain? I mean, maybe. It would be certainly wise of them to keep Kyle Chandler around, or, will Hal only be a part of this season of TV? I can see it going either way. There's a lot of theories, different ideas, but that's what's exciting about this. It asks more questions, it gets people excited for what's to come in only, a matter of weeks. But more importantly, I think this shows that despite the failure of Supergirl, despite all of the, the behind the scenes drama that's recently come out about it, all the tabloid, well, not even tabloid, but just like the rumors, the back and forth of the trades and everything about just like James Gunn losing control over the Supergirl project, him not giving it the attention that perhaps it needed, and Craig Gillespie just kind of being, not really having as much investment in that project, and perhaps that indicating that James Gunn isn't really cut out for the job he has right now. I think what this trailer, or at least what this show is looking to prove, is that the DCU isn't in trouble. Lanterns being great will definitely help wash away the bad taste of Supergirl's failings, and I have incredibly high hopes for both this show and Clayface. Ironically, two projects that are leaning more into genre and away from your traditional superhero flick. Is that a sign of things to come for the superhero genre? I mean, we'll see. I certainly hope so. The announcement of Ghost Rider shows that Marvel, I guess, wants to go in a more genre-esque direction. Whether or not they'll fully commit remains to be seen, but I do like that DC is kind of headed in that direction already. I think at the very least, it certainly speaks to what James Gunn said when he created the DCU. It's a place for creators to tell distinct stories without a homogenous tone and visual style. Part of why Supergirl failed was because it felt so James Gunn light. So perhaps these projects, Lanterns, Clayface, whatever's to come down the pipeline, can showcase the wide variety of styles that the DCU should be underpinned by. We'll see what happens, but I think Lanterns is going to be a great time.